Hey everyone, Mark here with your playlist video for July 2018. I've got 3 games this month that are all really interesting and cool and worth checking out, but they all have issues that hold them back from true greatness. Let's take a look. First up is Bomb Chicken, which is the latest game from Nitrome. That's a UK indie studio that has previously done Flash and mobile games, and all of their stuff is pretty inventive and well designed. They have an almost Nintendo-like quality in that they come up with one smart, playful idea and then base the entire game around it. The same thing has happened in Bomb Chicken, the studio's first Switch game, where the game revolves around the ability to drop a bomb out of your butt. So you can obviously drop a bomb, Bomberman style, then run away before it explodes, and use that to break through barriers or blow up enemies. But it's also your jump, as it lifts your little chicken up, and it can be used as a shield to protect you from incoming arrows, and as a puzzle-solving tool, as bombs can weigh down buttons, and so on. And the cool thing about it being a bomb, rather than an egg or a block or something, is that the bomb will obviously explode. So the thing that really helps you in this game can also hurt you, leading to this interesting risk-reward dynamic. You could make a whole tower of bombs to lift you right up to the ceiling, but now you're stood on top of a wobbling pillar of death. That's scary. And Nitrome also comes up with loads of clever puzzles, enemy types and mechanics that work with the bomb. Unfortunately though, a couple things hold Bomb Chicken back. One is that it can be a bit fiddly and fussy at times. There's a lot going on in this game, with bombs exploding left and right, and the fact that the bombs are always about to explode can make you panic, rush, and die. And this wouldn't be so much of a problem if Bomb Chicken didn't have the most pointlessly punishing death system around. For some reason, the game has lives, so lose a life and you'll restart the current room. Fine, fair enough. Lose all of your lives and it's back to the beginning of the entire level. Hold on, that's a perfectly fine system for a tricky platformer or a roguelike or what have you, but a puzzle game? That makes no sense. You just find yourself almost exactly repeating the thing you did before. It's completely weird. You can't heal either, so if you screw up early, it's best to just manually restart the whole level. And I just feel that when you're dealing with a type of gameplay that's very messy and unpredictable and dangerous, like pooping bombs out of your butt, you want a permissive health system that lets you experiment, mess around, and take chances without losing loads of progress, not one that promotes slow, deliberate, thoughtful play. So, this game is a good idea, but it's let down by some weird design decisions. I'm not 100% sure I can recommend it, to be honest, but it is nifty. Semblance is a lot like Bomb Chicken actually. It's got a solid central idea with loads of twists on that premise. This time it's about altering the shape of the terrain. You play as some blobby little bloke whose air dash move doesn't just let you sail across big gaps, but can also dash into the walls and move them out of position. This means you can create a big lump in a wall and use it as a ledge to stand on. You can move an entire platform to the left to get it in the right place for a jump. You could make a huge dent in the floor so you can hide from a moving enemy. You could kink the end of a platform to make a ramp to leap off, and so on. I was talking about this on the stream about how puzzle mechanics can end up being very digital or very analog. So a digital mechanic would be like Lara Croft Go. It's grid-based, it's turn-based, you either move an entire space or you don't. It's very clear and digital. Semblance is much more of an analog mechanic. You can make really small, specific, messy modifications to the world, giving you much more fine-grained control over things. Both are good, and games typically fall along a spectrum rather than tip into one of two camps, but I find that analog puzzle games are less about specific, clever strategies that the developer intended, and more about finding some scrappy, just-about-work solution to the problem. And so you don't quite get that aha moment as much, but you do get to feel some ownership over your solution. I feel like I'm talking absolute nonsense at this point, so I'll stop. Anyway, like Bomb Chicken, Semblance's developers also found lots of clever ways to build on the idea. So there are lasers that you can redirect by moving the platforms they're stuck to, and beams that reset platforms back to basics, stuff like that. If I had to make a complaint, I'd say that sometimes it's not completely clear why you can't deform a platform or a wall or whatever. You'll hit into something and it just won't move, it'll sort of shrug, and I'm not sure why. Clarity and consistency is so important in a puzzle game, and Semblance fails at times. Also, the physics are weird and you get stuck in the wall a bunch. Anyway, pretty good game, thumbs up. So, the Spectrum Retreat is very much part of this first-person puzzling genre, started by Portal of course, but then we've got games like Antichamber and Cube and Talos Principle and the Turing Test. And this is a pretty good one. It's about taking colours from blocks and shooting them into other blocks to turn on and off coloured gates. It's nothing revolutionary, but the puzzle design is pretty smart. Puzzles would stump me for a bit and I'd have to really consider all of my options, come up with a plan, and see it to fruition. And there are loads of twists on that idea. New levels don't just add extra colours, but also new mechanics. Also, everything is communicated clearly, and the rules are consistent and easy to pick up. Though, there are some weird bits where the level architecture is actually impossible. It's like an MC Escher painting or something, which leads to some cool moments where your brain gets very confused about what's going on, but I'm not sure if that's conducive to good puzzle design. Logical consistency is pretty important after all. Anyway, that's only half of this game. It's also got sections where you're in a creepy hotel filled with robots. Now it's more like a walking simulator, with a story and a character called Cooper chatting in your ear, and small environmental puzzles. And I guess the biggest ding against this game is that the two halves just don't match up at all. You do some story, and then the game shifts gears entirely to play some puzzles. They're almost completely unrelated, but where games like Talos Principle and Turing Test let you decide how much story you want with your puzzles, you know, it's possible to completely ignore the computers in the Talos Principle, Spectrum forces you to meander through the story bits, even if you just want to get on with the puzzling. So ultimately, that's the game's biggest flaw, because the story isn't the best, and the puzzles, and that's maybe the result of trying to make two completely different games. If the focus was more squarely put on one side of the equation, it might have been a more memorable experience. That'll do for July. I've just started digging into Dead Cells, so more on that, plus lots of other cool games next month. See you then. Cheers!